let's talk about what the 7 best clan castle troop compositions are on defense at Town Hall 15 and Town Hall 16. So 50 housing space. We're going to be going through this tier list right here, starting at number 7 and working our way to number 1. We are going from good to best. So I do think that the number 1 spot is the absolute best, but all 7 of these are solid options. Let's get into it. All right, coming in here at number 7 is going to be the Lava Hound, the Balloon, 2 Headhunters, and 3 Goblins. And the reason for all these troops, first of all, the Lava Hound used to be like the king of defensive clan castles, but the reason it's coming here at the bottom of the list is, for one, the introduction of the Electro Titan was a big nerf to the Lava Hound on defense. People still bring Electro Titans in their army comps or even in their siege machines, which does nerf the Lava Hound quite a bit. The other thing is, a big part of the meta right now are Root Riders or Valkyries, or Root Riders and Valkyries, and that means you're basically relying on the enemy queen or the enemy RC to actually pop the Lava Hound, because the Hound has to pop before it gets any value whatsoever. So there are times where that Lava Hound's just going to float around chasing Root Riders and never pop. Now you got that balloon in there to try to help mitigate that a bit, do some damage to the Root Riders, and the balloon can do quite a bit of damage. Then you got the 2 Headhunters, obviously, try to get some damage on enemy heroes, or at least slow them down a little bit. And then the 3 Goblins. And the 3 Goblins pair nicely with the 2 Headhunters. If your opponent is bringing a poison spell, the Headhunters and Goblins can actually draw the poison away from the Lava Hound. That way, when the Hound does eventually pop, they might not have a poison then to take care of the lava pups. Coming in at number 6, we got the Electro Titan and 3 Headhunters. And the same thing for the Headhunters. Again, they go to the enemy heroes, they can get some damage, they can slow them down. And then for the Electro Titan itself, the things that make the Electro Titan nice on defense, she's tanky, she has a lot of damage, and she has that aura, and she can hit air or ground. And the nice thing about the aura that the Electro Titan does, she can damage a lot of troops around her, even though her actual attack doesn't do splash damage. And that aura doesn't change if she gets poisoned, it doesn't decrease, and it doesn't stop damaging if she gets frozen. So these are things that make the Electro Titan really nice on defense. However, the damage that she does do isn't incredibly high, so that is why she comes in at number 6. She's nice, but she's not the best. If you guys are finding this video helpful, please do consider hitting that subscribe button down below. It helps me out a ton. Next up, we've got number 5, and we've got 2 Ice Golems, 3 Headhunters, and 2 Archers on this one. So same as before, we got the Headhunters and the Archers. You can also switch out the Archers for Goblins for the same reasons as earlier, because those Goblins will run with the Headhunters and then maybe draw the poison. But the poison's not really as big of a deal, and that's why I have Archers in this slot. But it really doesn't make that big of a difference which one you want to choose. But I got Archers in here. The poison's not going to be a big deal for the Ice Golems, and that's what makes Ice Golems really nice. It's going to freeze up your troops. The poison's not going to matter nearly as much as it would with pretty much any other defensive clan castle. And the Ice Golems can freeze your troops in place while defenses are hitting those troops. Not your troops, but the attacker's troops. It'll freeze them in place. Defenses can hit them. It can also affect the clock. If you got an attacker that is struggling on time, they could potentially help push for a time fail. So that's what helps with that. So you got a little mix of time, and you've got a mix of damage with this clan castle. All right, coming in at number 4, we've got, again, 2 Ice Golems, but the damage portion of this one is going to change a bit. We've got Rocket Balloons. We have 2 Rocket Balloons specifically, and 4 Archers. Again, Archers and Goblins are very interchangeable. They're basically just cannon fodder, trying to distract, maybe pull poison spells away from other troops. But the reason we're going with Rocket Balloons, and I actually like this one a little bit better than Headhunters, the Rocket Balloons are quick, and they can deal a lot of damage, especially if the poison isn't dropped in time. So especially if you have a situation where the Root Riders happen to pull the clan castle, those Rocket Balloons are going to be on them like that. They're going to be quick, they're going to deal lots of damage, and then even when they die, when they drop down, they deal death damage, so they're going to go out with a bang. They're going to deal that extra bit of damage. And then same thing as before with the Ice Golems as well. You got that time delay. You get that extra damage onto those troops that are pushing their way in. And here we go. We're going into the top 3. And at number 3, we've got the Super Dragon with 10 Archers. And the Super Dragon is something that I've actually recommended people don't run. So if you've seen any of my previous clan castle videos, I've always said don't use dragons, don't use super dragons. I still say don't use dragons, but super dragons I've changed my mind on because the meta has changed. Things have changed to where the super dragons are really good. And I think I mentioned this a bit earlier in the video, but if you run a super dragon, you basically have to have the queen or the RC, or maybe some wizards out of the siege barracks. Regardless, you got to have some small portion of the offense around to actually take the super dragon down. And the super dragon is so tanky, the attacker can drop a poison on it. The poison can completely go through. The super dragon is still going to be there firing away. It does splash damage, and it does a lot of damage. So if you have a super dragon chasing root riders around and you don't have the queen, you don't have the RC there to take that super dragon down, that super dragon is going to quickly take out all those root riders, and it can demolish an attack. And we've seen it happen time and time again in our regular wars as we're farming here for ores. And then speaking of super dragon, we do have a super dragon combo in the number 2 spot as well, but this time around we got the super dragon paired up with a rocket balloon. And I've already talked about what makes the rocket balloon so great on defense a little bit already, and then you do have 2 archers or 2 goblins in there as well to help do a little bit of distracting. But that rocket balloon can zoom out of the clan castle, it can pull the poison away from the dragon, it can deal lots of damage, and then you got that super dragon coming in behind it to kind of clean things up. And I do also believe that, like I said, this list is in order, but I do very much think that number 2 and number 1 are very interchangeable. I do think number 1 might be just a tiny bit better, but as in terms of damage, this is the best damage CC in the game for Town Hall 16 and Town Hall 15 right now. And that's kind of a hint as to what number 1 might be, because it is not a damage CC. But yeah, Super Dragon cannot be beat as far as damage goes at this point in time. And that brings us to number 1. And this is going to be the reigning champion of Clan Castle defenses, as it has been for a very long time. It is the triple Ice Golem CC. So you got 3 Ice Golems in there. You can actually take a balloon, because the balloon, if there's nothing else there to damage it, it can do a lot of damage to the root riders that happen to be moving through. I talk about root riders a lot because, I mean, come on, we see so many root rider attacks, but these clan castle troops, I've also taken into consideration other attacks that are very common right now, mainly dragons. This is also something that can help with dragons a lot. I know some people are skeptical of running ice golems with dragons, but you get that royal champion running through the base or any other ground troop that gets near the CC and pulls out triple ice golems when somebody's attacking you with dragons. Those dragons are going to get super distracted, they're going to get frozen in place, and it's going to help out tremendously on that defense, because those dragons are going to struggle. And we've seen that before, not even just in our farming wars, but even in the competitive scene in hard mode. The ice golems are very disruptive to all sorts of attacks. And disrupting attacks is the main goal for ice golems. They want to try to cause time fails. They want to hold troops in place for a long period of time, which nothing does it better than ice golems. Now, there is a little caveat for ice golems where the King's Giant Gauntlet can potentially take out all 3 ice golems with one swing. We have seen that happen, but it doesn't happen very often. That's actually quite a rare thing. I've been paying very close attention to this, and it happens like maybe once or twice out of every 20 attacks. So it's not something to be super concerned with, but if it were to start happening more often, then maybe the Ice Hound could come into play. But at this point, you're still going to get quite a bit more freeze time out of the Ice Golems. Not to mention, the Ice Hound has issues where troops like Valkyries or the Barbarian King aren't going to pop them, so it's not going to be quite as helpful. And that is going to be a wrap for this video. I hope you guys did find this helpful. Let me know down in the comments below if you did, or maybe if there's something you think I overlooked or something I should consider for the next defensive clan castle video. I'd be more than happy to give some more combos a try. We've tried quite a few for this video, and I'm very happy with the list that we've got here. And with that, if you guys want to see some awesome Town Hall 16 attacks, I recommend checking out this video right here.